Well, hello and welcome to The Best Thing This Week, the podcast all about the best things we actually did last week. But you know what? Close enough. And this is part of the Fandom Foundry, the home of the Waiver Wire Wizards, if you like fantasy football, this podcast, and we have a couple more coming out. So thank you for tuning in. This is not going to be a live episode, but we'll probably do more live episodes in the future. But this is a very exciting episode for me because I am just a fact geek. I'm a money. I love the business of things. And I know that's not the appropriate take on, works of art and things like that, but I love to know what the video games are doing because I like to know how the things are doing in regards to the fandom we have. So I've been a big fan of Ryan Scott. He is the box office analyst, probably, where most people got their insight in their summer movie wagers. He's also a slash film analyst and reporter and a contributor to Fangoria. My notes got all screwed up there. So Ryan, welcome to the show.
My God, thank you so much for having me. I wasn't sure if this would be on video. Just to be very clear, I'm going for a run after this, which is the only reason I'm wearing like the douche top right now. So like, I apologize to the viewers for the shoulders and whatnot, but I'm heading out the door right after this. But also did not know you were a football guy. I would have absolutely put the Broncos Giants game on the best things that I watched this week.
There's still time. We can add that on.
Oh my God, because I always feel, because it's funny because I run in like nerdier circles. And like football is the one thing that like my wife, when we first started dating, she knew I love movies, geeky stuff. And then she found out that I'm an every Sunday, all day on the couch football guy. And it just did not line up with her view of who she thought that I was. And, and I still to this day, like in most of the places I am, I'm like, so did you catch the playoff game? And no one, like, it's just the one thing that I'm always, but anyway, yeah. So very happy to hear that, but I'm also more than anything very happy to be here. I should say, and I want to say this on the record in public, we were supposed to do this a couple weeks ago. I had a scheduling issue and it was kind of last minute and I felt terrible about it. So I want to don't edit this out. I am apologizing to you on the air. I feel so bad, Todd, but I'm so happy to actually be here.
No worries. That's the fun part about the world of podcasting. It's a great way to meet people, connect with people, and the fact that you just answered my DM very nicely, and we went back and forth, and you're like, "Don't worry about it. I'll make it up to you," and you kept your word. So I appreciate it. Like I said, Ryan, I listened to the Slash Film podcast for many times, and you were on for your weekly take on the box office. And just your insight was amazing. It was fun. You always said, well, I'm not a prognosticator, but you were really good at just saying, like, talking about the way the budgets and how they influence, is a movie going to be successful? And you're a champion for smaller budgets and really trying new things at the box office and at the movie theaters. So we appreciate that. And if people have any interest in following Ryan, he has just started up a new Patreon where you can subscribe to it. So Ryan, before we even get into it, tell people now. We'll reach back to it at the end.
Yeah, sure. So people, we had to sign. I used to on some daily once a week to kind of talk about the box office on Mondays with my good friend and co-host Ben Pearson. Things changed in Slash Film, so that's now Slash Film Weekly. So we don't really get to talk about the box office stuff there anymore. But Ben and I miss doing it. So Ben started a Patreon podcast called Pop Cultured. And then as part of that, on Mondays, we do a box office podcast called Movies Now More Than Ever. And so you can go to patreon.com/popcultured. And if you subscribe to I believe it is the $7 tier, that unlocks the Movies Now More Than Ever podcast for you Mondays. And me and Ben are on there doing our thing. That's where you can find my box office stuff. I also obviously still write about it all the time and whatever. But yeah, that's if you miss me talking about it, that's the best way to do it for now.
Well, fantastic. I'll put the link in the notes so you can check that out. And, it's great that people are able to make money in different avenues to do the things they love. So please check it out and learn a lot about the box office and just obviously other shows as well that are a part of that network that you get. So enjoy. So with that, why we're here, we're talking about the best things this week. So let's start off about the best things we did. And Ryan, I wanted to move this one up to the top. So what was your best thing you did this week?
I guess technically it was a little over a week ago, but it felt like the thing worth talking about. I got married. I was in Las Vegas over the weekend of October 10th with my now wife, my sainted former fiance, Shay Hawthorne. She is the best thing that ever happened to me, and now she can't take it back. But no, it was great. We did when we first got engaged, we were talking about, because I was the one that wanted the wedding. The joke is that I was the princess in this whole thing. Because like I normally there's the whole bridezilla thing, right? But I was the one that was like, no, I want to be married. I want everyone to be there. And so, but we still want to do it cheap. So we joked like, well, what about Vegas? Because I got people in Arizona. We live in Texas. And so that's what happened. All my friends and family just were all there. Did it at like one of the cheap little chapels in Vegas. And then we just didn't even have like a formal reception. We just went out and partied that night during a rainstorm in Vegas. So we had to go to this, we ended up going to this bar that was just called The Nerd, and nobody was there. There's like a gigantic Jabba the Hutt in the corner. There was a big white giant, those mechanical bowls.
Oh yeah.
It was that, but a big white dick. And
I saw the picture. It was a video, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, no, it ended up being, it was amazing. Like, I think like people, you talk about like what a wedding could be, should be, whatever. I could not imagine a better situation. So it was a blast. It was great. I am now married to the best person I could ever possibly imagine. So that was, I think like as far as things that I've done in relatively recent memory, hard to argue that I did anything better than getting married, and it was a lot of fun. So that was great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've been married for 24, 25 next year. We eloped. And we went to Vegas for a honeymoon.
Wait, you've been married for 25 years?
Almost 25, yes. I've got a 19-year-old son who's a sophomore in college.
Okay, you and I don't know each other well. We've gone back for a little bit. For the right, I'm not blowing smoke. There's no chance I would have thought you were old enough to be married for 25 years. That's crazy. When did you get married? When you were 10?
No, I got married when I was almost 25. It was
Holy shit, no way. Okay, well, hey, good for you.
Well, the bald hair removes a lot of the gray, so you can't see it. And my wife is even 5 years older than me, looks far younger than me. So,
that's great. Yeah, because I've been just like, again, mentioned I'm going for a run after this. People that follow me on social media probably know I'm a little vain about that, but I'm like just fighting Father Time with every ounce of energy that I have in my body, because I'm just like, I feel the ravages of it daily.
So this is kind of a segue to that, but it's more. So there are like the geek themed runs, the marathons, where you get like the badges and the things like a Disney thing. Do you do any of those?
No. So I want to do, the signups are crazy for them, but the Disney does them like through Disneyland every once in a while and stuff, or through Disney World. And you can do like a half marathon through like Disneyland. That's on my bucket list. Because I did a marathon earlier this year in Seattle, and I have like vowed to pretty much not do. I will say this: people ask me, how do you get into running, whatever. I say don't, but if you insist on getting into running, marathons should not necessarily be everybody's goal. It's too much. It really is. Like it's something you should maybe do once and never again. Half marathon's a great distance for anybody that is aiming for something, but yeah, I want to very badly. There's also some of those virtual ones they do where like they do like the virtual 5Ks and you get like a cool medal. And a lot of times they're themed to like, they had one when Godzilla X Kong was out, and I kind of wanted to do it just to get the Godzilla medal, but I ended up not. But yeah, I'm very much in tune with those, but I haven't pulled the trigger on one yet.
Well, I would tell you, doing a run at Disneyland would be the most interesting place you could do a marathon.
Yeah, but the problem is the signups for them, like they go on sale, and they're like, so the spots sell out in like 5 minutes. You got to be on it, and you got to be like committed and ready. So on the bucket list, probably going to do it at some point, not right now.
Excellent. Well, very cool. Well, I didn't do something as exciting as yours and life-changing. Obviously that will only happen to you once. But you know what? I did do something fun. So I'm going to share my screen so you can actually see it. If I can pull it up. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here we go. So in the city of Minneapolis, where I live, they do these amazing trolley rides where they're hosted, and they do true crime, they do cemetery tours, and they do ghost tours. Well, we went on one yesterday, and it was amazing. The trolley driver was absolutely hilarious, a great gentleman. He had just gotten married. He talked about his husband, and he was very humorous. He's very good at what he does, but he would drive us around, and we got to see all these cool spots within Minneapolis that I had no clue something nefarious happened there. Deaths and, bad things, even a mob hit that, turned into a haunting. But we went to the oldest apartment building in Minneapolis, and it's this place that just stands alone. It's almost like a redstone. And it's kind of by itself. There's a parking lot, and this building is standing alone amidst all these skyscrapers. And we're like, I never knew what it was. Well, apparently that's the oldest apartment building still acting in Minneapolis. But I thought, oh, we'll just see the outside. Nope. They took us inside to this basement, and the basement was completely unfinished. Apparently that's where the handyman stayed in his room, is by the boiler. This is a very dangerous place because it wasn't actually taken care of. I'm surprised they let us in. But the handyman had made a loan from a land shark. They said he hung himself, but he really didn't because his hands were tied, and they found him hung. Basically, it was a hit for not paying his loan. So
handyman living in a boiler room. I can't help think of you have your lovely Simpsons background there, and I'm sure most people will know one of the best episodes of Treehouse of Horror. They did the Nightmare on Elm Street spoof with groundskeeper Willie, essentially as Freddy Krueger, and that reminds me of how he because he's in the boiler room, gets burned up, and that just all that does is call to mind that to me.
It was so interesting because this is a place I don't think they should be taking people to because it was not safe. Rickety staircase, no lights, and they gave us little candles, but it didn't work.
Okay, so it's not safe in the sense that it is structurally unsound. Not in
I think it's unsafe to take people that can't see very well, falling downstairs, or maybe the one open area you could see the old boiler room. It was literally, there was just caution tape, but it was a step down if you kind of fell over. So
I kind of like that though, because so much of that tour stuff feels too safe. You know what I mean? I like the idea that it's a little because for me, I'm one of those people, I could go on a ghost tour and find it interesting. But I sort of subscribe to even if ghosts are real, they're not remotely dangerous. And I don't really believe that ghosts are real anyway. I not to put my cards on the table. So the police report has never said the ghost did it, I guess is more what I'm getting at. So you can take, because there's people that go these haunted tours and stuff. And they're like, ooh, spooky stuff happened. And I'm like, yeah, you could call me a skeptic, but I guess if I'm going to go do that stuff, I could find it interesting. I like the idea that the atmosphere is a little dangerous. Oh, I could trip a step, or the guardrails are a little boring sometimes, right? It's don't lean over the railing. Don't do this. It's kind of fun when you're in something that's
keep your hands inside the
right,
ride.
Right. I hear you, but I also sort of like that idea. I like that exists. I like that there is something that is this is a little unsafe, and that's kind of fun about it.
I do have to say it did make it far more interesting.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it quite a bit. And they actually had some, as you were writing in the trolley, they had newspaper clippings. So from the real newspapers where they talked about what happened, which was kind of cool to have an actually historical perspective and an actual documentation of it. So very cool. We went all around the city. I wish it would have been a little bit later at night, so it was a little bit darker, but it was still amazing. We had a great time, and it was hosted at the Pillsbury Mansion. That essentially, they're using it, essentially this work, to fund it. And there's, if you look at the screen, that's what it is. So they're doing it to fund basically the preservation of this amazing mansion. So, and surprisingly enough, a lot of the deaths occurred in the mansions around Minneapolis. So money does not cure your happiness, and unfortunately, sometimes.
Right. So can I ask you a question about this?
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Minneapolis?
So I live south of Minneapolis, so we all just say it because people don't know the suburbs of Minneapolis. But I've been here since 2003 when I got out of the military.
Okay, so you've been there a long time, and you just now did this.
Yes, it's one of those things when you live in a town, right? You don't go and visit until You're forced.
Well, right, but that's kind of my point, because I live in Austin, which like there's so much stuff to do here, and it's interesting. You can live in a place for so long, and there's like, am I allowed to curse, by the way, or should I not? Like,
sure. Yeah.
Okay, so there's like cool shit to do, and then sometimes like you just don't do it, and then like 20 years after living in a place, you're like, why didn't I do this cool thing 20 years ago? Like, it just struck me as the kind of thing that like, it seems cool, and I imagine it's been a thing for a little while. And yet you only now found your way to it.
Yeah. We have like an amusement park 10 miles from our house. It's a Six Flags amusement park.
Yeah.
And my son would go often because he could get a summer pass.
Yeah, what's the name of that Six Flags? What's the name of that?
Valley Fair. It's called Valley Fair. Yeah.
Because my family's all from Kenosha, Wisconsin, so it's like a little.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So same.
Yeah.
The border battle is real.
Yes.
So I've got to ask a question. Are you a cheesehead?
So like I'm not one of those football fans that has like, so I'm yes, like I love the Packers, but I am my team, the team that I found on my own. Like I'm a Ravens fan. Like that's my team. They're the team that I found, but I am a voracious like NFL fan. Like I always joke my favorite show is Monday Night Football. Like I don't watch a lot of
just tonight. So yeah, we've got to, make sure we get you out the run though. So
I pay for NFL Plus. So what I do is a lot of times I'll listen to the games while I'm like, but anyway, so I'm like one of those guys that I can just like, there are teams that I hate. Yes. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a handful of teams that I just hate. Like I hate the Steelers. I wish nothing good for them. I hope that Patriots fans are sad on every day that ends in Y between September and March for the rest of forever. They don't deserve anything good anymore. They had their time, but for the most part, like I can get caught up in anything, like I can get caught up in it. Like right now, like what's going on with the Colts. Like if you're a football fan, like this is what I love about NFL football. And I'm so sorry for nerd people who are listening to this and did not want to hear about football, but like, my God, Daniel Jones going to the Colts and like being 7-1 or 6-1, like it's incredible. So that's what I love about football. So I have my teams. I have, but I guess if I have a team, it's the Ravens. Then if I have a second team, it's the Packers. So sort of.
And it's almost like the Ravens and the Colts switched bodies or something.
Bit, yeah. The Ravens are sort of like what's interesting is like the Ravens right now are decimated with injuries.
Yeah.
But like the Lions defense was decimated with injuries last year, and they went, I think, 16-1. Like it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
They
stumbled through.
Yeah, what they did. So it's like, I didn't know. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I've been a little hard on Lamar Jackson for what he's done in the postseason. I didn't realize he was that good. I didn't realize he was 6-game winning streak better than you were last year. Like he literally carrying the team good. So my apologies to Mr. Jackson for sort of doubting your abilities there.
He's amazing to watch, and I hope he wins one. I am, as a Vikings fan, I want every team to win, and obviously the Ravens have won. They had to leave Cleveland to finally win.
Yeah, because they got one in 2001, which was one of the biggest blowouts in Super Bowl history. But then they had, I promise everybody else we'll stop talking about football after this. But what I still hold up, and again, I say this as someone who. I would say that next to this, just to show my cards, would be the New York Giants dismantling Tom Brady's perfect season. But the best Super Bowl run that I have ever seen was the 2011-2012 Baltimore Ravens run. Joe Flacco, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, perfect postseason. Beating Peyton Manning's Broncos in double overtime, one of the greatest football games I've ever seen. The blackout bowl with the power going out during halftime, the 49ers almost coming back, the Kaepernick year. Like it was the best Super Bowl, one of the best Super Bowls you'll ever hope to watch. So, yes, as a Ravens fan, I've been spoiled a little bit in that we've got some good ones, but hey, I think if Lamar can ever get him over the hump, it ain't going to be this year, but maybe next year, the favorite slogan of every NFL fan, maybe next year.
Absolutely. And our fantasy football podcast, we have it's kind of painful to me because my one friend who lives just across the way, he's a Vikings fan, but he is obsessive Chiefs fan, which frustrates me. We've got one guy who lives in Colorado, but he's a Chiefs fan as well. And then the other person is a Canadian whose team is the Jets. So it's a very weird time.
How does
we talk way too much about the Jets.
How is it that you're a Canadian? Okay, I promise I'll leave it alone after this. How is it that you live in Canada and you're a free agent necessarily, right? Because you don't have a football team. You pick the Jets?
And he's on the East Coast. I mean, he's basically almost in the Atlantic Ocean. He's on Atlantic time. He could have picked the Patriots. He could have picked the Giants. I mean, go a little bit south. You could pick the Steelers.
You could pick
a team that's traditionally good.
The fucking Jets?
I know. I don't know why. He has a Tim Tebow jersey from the Jets. So that's all I have to say.
That's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Speaking of good, that Tim Tebow run with the Broncos was exciting. That was fun. That was good football.
Yep.
But man, oh man, to just pick the Jets.
I know. I mean, and my heart always goes out to the Broncos because for so many years they were also in the same spot, and now it's the Buffalo Bills. Vikings and Buffalo Bills, 4 Super Bowls, no wins.
Yeah, except Buffalo going 4 in a row. And also, since this is more of a movie, TV, pop culture, if anyone, even if you don't follow football, the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, The Four Falls of Buffalo, is just outstanding documentary filmmaking that will make your heart retch by the end of it.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The agony of defeat.
The agony.
Well, folks, sorry, but yes, I do love football every week. Red Zone is my screen while I watch the Vikings as well. Well, let's get on to the best things we ate. Food fuels us. So, Ryan, I'm going to kick off with a place that has become one of our favorites. We had a James Beard Award winner in Minneapolis.
Sounds fancy.
It's really a good restaurant, and it's called Hi Hi, and the food is amazing. It's Vietnamese fusion, and they made this amazing. It's a Vietnamese pork shoulder. Oh, I took it off the screen, but It's an amazing restaurant. This woman is so talented and amazing food. And we went with our families. Our friend came from out of town, Minneapolis, or from Michigan to Minneapolis. Their daughter was on a college tour, and just the food they make, the drinks they make, it's just mouth-watering. The appetizers, my wife gets this fried tofu.
Oh, what is that? What is that egg thing on the plate that looked so good? What was that? Oh my god!
Let's see. Let's hope it comes back.
Oh my god, that looks so good.
I'll put the link to the restaurant in the chat. But yeah, it's right in Minneapolis. That is like their pork floss.
Okay, because that looks
amazing.
Good.
Like cotton
it's
candy.
Coming up here in a second. Whatever. Hold on, I'll point to it. And
if you're watching video,
what the hell was that?
I think it's just a big omelet with all of these toppings mixed together.
God, that looks so good.
Yeah. So if you are in Minneapolis or you end up being here, go to Hi Hi. It's amazing. Big tables, very much fun. The environment's amazing. Really loved that food. My son forgot his leftovers, so I got to eat his leftovers next day.
Hell yeah.
Amazing food.
Oh man, that looks so good. Yeah, Asian fusion is that's one of my favorite things in the world. It's so good. That looks great.
Yeah, my wife being a Filipino, I get a lot of really good Filipino food, and there's actually a good community here. So we do get Vietnamese. We get Filipino fusion, which is great. So yeah, it's been great. Love the city, Minneapolis. As the joke used to be, the only black people in Minneapolis were Kirby Puckett and Prince. Not true anymore. There are people from everywhere around the country in Minneapolis now. The culture's ingrained. It's just not bad Norwegian food. So I would highly recommend you come to try the food. So Ryan, I'm going to share my screen. You tell me what dish you want to look at for your place. So I pulled up their Instagram.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so yeah, when we went to Vegas, what's crazy about it? So we were mostly in Fremont, which is old Vegas, not new Vegas. But yeah, so we went to a place called Dirt Dog. And the first night we were there, a lot of the food we had in Vegas was disappointing. Dirt Dog was so good. It was what we had was they had an elote hot dog, and it's probably worth just looking at what they do. So if you see those buns there on the video, it's basically like a lobster roll style bun, and they do the hot dogs on a lobster roll bun. Oh man, and so then the elote dog was full of street corn and cheese and bacon and just all of this crazy. And then we also had carne asada fries on the side. So stellar experience. Like, because for me, just to put my cards on the table food wise, like I'm not like, we also went to like a 4-star steakhouse while we were there, and like expensive food is generally lost on me. Like paying $70 for a steak is asinine. You know, whereas like these $18 carne asada fries and like that $12 elote dog or whatever it was, like that felt a little pricey for what it was, but super worth it at the end of the day. Like so satisfying.
Well, it looks like they don't scrimp on the amount of food you get, so at least you get a
No,
lot.
no. Like, so when you get the hot dog, it is like loaded down. So basically, what ended up happening is like you eat the hot dog, and yeah, they put like fries, all kinds of crazy stuff on it. But then like all the elote like falls off, so you just have like second meal, which is like scooping up all of the leftovers. And yeah, like the fries are great. Like even like the quality of the steak on like the carne asada fries, like really good. I should also mention like I'm a reformed like, how do I say it? What's the PC way of saying it? There's a version of my life that I should be like a very heavy person, but I love food. So like I don't talk about this ever, but like I like love food. I have an enormous weakness for food, and it's not like I'm like out there eating salads. Like this is the stuff that I go for. Like, you know, I'm the kind of guy like I can crush half dozen donuts without even like blinking. So you know, it's I have to like really be careful, but like when I get the opportunity to let loose, like, oh man, do I do it? And like, yeah, the bird dog that first night in Vegas was a good. Yeah, there's the elote dog right there. There it is.
Oh, yes. I love elote. Oh, the cotija cheese, the spice. What is it? Tajin they put on there.
Dog.
Oh,
so good. Anyway,
that's not even.
So that was. Yeah. So out of all the things I had in Vegas, like again, the expensive steakhouse, we went to like this noodle place, and it was all okay. We went to Pink Pot Donuts, which is like a famous donut place there. It was good, good donuts, fine. A little overpriced. Dirt Dog, if you're going to be in Las Vegas, you're going to be around the Fremont area, I highly recommend Dirt Dog. It was great.
Amazing. I don't get to Vegas that often, but I do love hearing, like when we had our honeymoon, we went off the strip quite a bit. We found some great places. I think we had a Peruvian restaurant, had one of the Peruvian beers, which I'd never had before. Delicious. So big Peruvian food fan. I'm awesome. 5'4". Yeah, I'm 5'4", so obviously I can't eat a lot because there's not much place to put it. So I'm trying to maintain a slim figure. But yeah, I love food. And the worst part about vacation when you get really good food is oftentimes you can't have leftovers because in your room you maybe have a refrigerator, but you don't probably have a microwave. So it's
because that was my fiance or wife now, I guess. I'm still getting used to that. But she had like this crazy quesadilla from this place that had like flaming hot Cheetos in it and stuff, like the day she was getting ready for the wedding. And she was only able to eat like a little bit of it. It was in the hotel fridge, but we had no way to warm it up. And it was just like, damn it, I don't want to eat a cold quesadilla. This thing looks amazing. You know, and it's just
you almost want to give it. You find somebody in the hotel staff and say, "No, here, you have it. Enjoy."
Yeah, it's funny. You say you're 5'4" and like you can't eat a lot. I'm only 5'7", and like I eat way more. Like I can eat so much more than is it medically advisable for a person my size. It is true. Yeah, but you know.
Us short kings, you know, we only, you know, we do our best. And you run, and I need to do more exercise. So I'm back on it.
It is a constant like people are like, oh man, you know, because they see I run all the time. You must be like in an incredible shape. I'm like, it's amazing how like average shape that I'm like for someone who does as much as I do. But a lot of it is just like because I do this because like I want to one day a week be able to have a cheat day where I can eat that much crap and just like not. You know, it's not like the healthiest relationship with it, but like that's the thing too, is like I don't want like a little bit of good food. I want like a lot of food. Like that's my poison in life, is that I want like it's a quantity game for me. Like I want 45 crab puffs. You know, like I don't want, you know, like I just I want to go to like an Asian buffet and eat like way too many crab rangoons. You know, like that's my game.
Douse yourself in the sweet chili sauce. Yeah, I totally get it.
Let's go, man.
I'm the opposite of my wife. My wife gets mad because I never have room for dessert. I will have a pint of ice cream. I'll have like 2 spoons. I'm like, oh, I'm good. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
yeah, man, please teach me your ways, because I don't have that bone in my body. Whatever. If I have to tell people like, take this, hide this from me. Like because I don't have that thing. Like whatever part of people's brain that tells them like stop eating because you're full, I don't have that. Like I have like, oh, this still tastes good. I will eat until I don't feel
exactly.
Good. Like that's my game.
It's like the, what is it, the Monty Python sketch.
Yeah.
Just one more. How about a chocolate thin wafer? Too much. That is what it's too much. Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody has to put the food in your mouth because you can't reach it anymore. That's a good sign. Well, I think we're going to now pivot to the best things we read. And I have been a fan of this author for a while. So tell me what it is.
Yeah, so I'm not quite done with it, but I'm sitting on my, I wish I had more time to read comics these days, the way that I found that I can finally squeeze in reading comics now is I just leave them by my bedside table, and at night, like before I go to sleep, I'll read a few issues. So a while ago, I loved Donnie Cates as a writer. If you're a comic fan, his Doctor Strange run was incredible. But Donnie Cates did a very, very, very long run on Venom, and Ryan Stegman was the main artist through the run, but there were others that go in. So I have the omnibus, which is like just a thick, fat, like I think it's like 65 issues. It's a lot of comics, and it's great. It's a really good. It's an interesting sort of look at Eddie Brock as Venom through like this gray lens of like, look, I know I've done some bad, but I'm trying to do some good. But then it also does a lot for like the symbiote lore, where this is where people who only sort of engage with this stuff in like a tertiary way. This is the run where Null comes in, the sort of symbiote god. Cool character. Very interesting character. It sort of deepens a lot of like our understanding of the symbiotes in this universe, like the way that like Venom ends up interacting with like the Avengers for reasons that aren't like overly wacky. Like it's cool. It's really interesting. So I'm almost toward the end of the King in Black storyline, which is where Null really comes into play and like invades Earth. It's just a cool, like it's so comic booky in the best way, right? Like adapting this into a movie would be like it would feel silly. But like as a comic book, it's really good. And so yeah, it's just a fun thing to dig into, and it's like a great comic book for comic book's sake. Donnie Cates is, I think, very good at writing like comic booky in a really good way. Like his Doctor Strange run is like it involves like Mephisto in Las Vegas, and like it's it's over the top. And I like that about it. And like it's not for everybody, but I think it's really good. So yeah, I'm getting toward the final. I meant like the final 10 or so issues that are in this massive omnibus, but it's a good time. It's one of the things that if you just even have like a base level understanding of Venom as a character, you can pick this up. It's fun. You don't need to know. Len Wein had a good, I believe it was Len Wein, the late great Len Wein, who co-created Wolverine. When you're talking about writing for continuity in Marvel, like, is that hard? Because you have to know. And his example was with Ultron. And he was like, evil robot, move on. Like the idea basically, like, yes, there's a lot of lore, but like, what do you really need to know? And like, I think the people, like readers, get intimidated by mainstream comics. Like, for the most part, they explain what you need to know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's, so I feel like this run is equipped for that. Like, are there things that readers who more voraciously read Marvel comics might pick up on? Sure, but that doesn't mean you're going to be lost. But yeah, so I'm getting to the tail end of this. I've really enjoyed it. There hasn't been a lot of lulls as you can reach in long runs on comics. It's just been good stuff.
That's awesome, because we did on previous show we did a comic book show called The Spinner Rack, which was a lot of fun, and we did talk about the King in Black. We talked about that whole line, and it was just really cool to look back at what Venom. I mean, I remember the Lethal Protector days, very early on, and then it moved to we saw then Agent Venom and the different iterations, and all of the different things. And obviously, we got the Venom movies, and we did get Null kind of in the last film.
We don't talk about that, sir.
No, I know. We shouldn't talk about it. Yes.
The Venom movies make me actively upset. But yeah, no, it's there's like another universe in which Andy Serkis's Null should be very exciting. That's not the universe we live in, but it's one that we should live in. But yeah, no, it's a cool. But yeah, the Agent Venom stuff too, for anyone looking at Flash Thompson becomes Venom at a certain point, and the Agent Venom stuff, cool idea. Flash Thompson is more of like a heroic Venom who is like an agent of the government, and it's a fun idea. This is not that. This Venom run is more. It's almost like old man Venom in a weird way, where like Eddie Brock has been doing this a long time, and like it's like weighing on him, and something happens that sort of upends his life. And it's very comic booky, very very fun, very cool stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I always said this when I was a kid. You just picked up a comic book and then you just jumped in because there was no way to read trade paperbacks back in the day. You know, a billion things happened, but you know what? It was fun just being excited with anything new happened. And sometimes the old days, they have the editor notes where like, hey, for what happened, go back to issue. I mean, they can't do that anymore.
But they would have like a brief, like Stanley was good at like sort of narrating, like in the early, like it's almost like the old Super Friends thing, like meanwhile dinner, you know, and you just kind of pop in and like that, you know, I don't know. I think because that people ask about comics and stuff, and I feel like I think that the problem with streaming culture a little bit is that people have become like completionists to a fault, where like they feel like they must watch episode 1 to whatever. And I think when people who don't typically read comics but become interested thanks to TV or movies feel like, oh, if I'm going to read Spider-Man, I've got to go read the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and go and that's not. I wish people would be more open to just like picking up a trade paperback and just seeing what they, you know, generally speaking, and it's been this way for a couple decades now, like you write to the trade basically, where it's like you're writing 5-6 issue arcs so that people can pick these things up. And so I hope that people could, you know, if you're going to take anything from me, please, if you've ever been considering reading comics, just pick up and read it, damn it. You know, like it's just that easy.
I always say this, you know a comic book person, they will not scare away or shy away from telling you what books you should read. So if you need a recommendation, someone will probably tell you this is an epic run, read it. Like, you know, Spider-Man, it's Kraven's Last Hunt. It's a great run. It's timeless and it just works.
But like the thing, even I tell people like with Spider-Man, it's like, because people are familiar with like Spider-Man, go read Spider-Man Blue. Go read like this remix of the sort of the Spider-Man love triangle origin story that the last page will make you sob, like uncontrollably sob. Like, you know, and then just want more Spider-Man. Like, go do that. You know, that's what I tell people.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely need to get better about reading more comic books because I get them and it turns into my pile of shame. So, because I have a new comic book shop that opened a mile away from my house, which I love. But
you definitely don't need to go over my pile of shame over sitting in the corner over there because like it's big and I wish it wasn't. But it's embarrassing.
Well, I think we've got one more area we need to talk about, and one of the things that I got into, I basically backed this really cool documentary series called Terrorbytes, and it's all about essentially the history of horror video games. And I love documentaries where they introduce or they interview creators, fans, critics, people that were behind the games. And this is what this is. This is like 5 parts, 2 hours long for each part. And they dissect the medium of the history of video games in regards to the horror aspect. So like the first episode is more about the history of horror video games going back really far, talking about, you know, back to the old Commodore days. Then we get into like Alone in the Dark, the original game that was on PC, then the game that kind of inspired Resident Evil, and the creator's called, I think it's called Good Home or Sweet Home. That's what it's called. So it's a really cool, well done look at the history of horror comic books or video games. And it's amazing. I just really love the care they did. This is obviously a passion project, and the amount of people they interview, it's amazing. You can get it on physical. I just went with the digital version, and they also included with the version I got, it was In Search of Darkness, which is then a strictly horror look at horror films, and it's amazing.
In Search of Darkness is great.
Yes, this is by the same team. This is by the same team, but it's all video games.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because for me, like, I don't get to video games are the thing I miss the most. I hardly ever get to play them anymore. But like, I make my exception usually for like when a new Resident Evil game comes out. Like that's horror video games way up my alley. I might have to check this out. This sounds amazing.
It's really good. It's highly affordable. Even if you don't want to buy the physical media, they sell you can just get the digital files they sell, which is great. And you can watch them even in the background. It's not like so intense, but it is great to hear these stories. And I like even Shudder has a lot of these amazing series about the making of like first films. They do I think it was Stephen King where they took his films and dissected them. I love
Horror Noir is one of the better documentaries you will ever watch if you get it on Shudder. Similar concept, but yeah, Horror Noir is all about the history of Black horror in film. It's really good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, fantastic. Well, yeah, like I said, I will add a link to where you can find this. Like I said, you can get physical media, and what the greater thing is at the end of the credits, they show all the people that backed this. I believe it was a Kickstarter first to make this happen. So it's been successful, and I have reached out to that team, and I really want to talk to them about how they did this and how they made it happen. So if anybody knows the folks that are involved in this, let me know, because I would love to get in touch with them. So that is what I watched first. So Ryan, what did you watch?
Well, I guess let's talk about the old thing first, then we'll kind of finish with the new thing. But I usually through the month of October, like most people do, I watch as much like horror as I can. And for almost a year, I've had sitting on my shelf. I bought a very nice Blu-ray. It was like the booklet Blu-ray. I couldn't find the link to it, but it's the one with like the production booklet inside the case. But my understanding is that when Peter Jackson made his King Kong movie in 2005, he helped make like a very nice restoration of the 1933 King Kong. And I saw it as a kid. I hadn't watched it a very long time. So I finally popped in the Blu-ray the other day. I watched it. Man, it was so... Look, don't get me wrong. The movie shows its age, but it's almost 100 years old. But some of the stuff like this scene you're showing right here hits like a train. Like just like the way like the production design is incredible. And some of the Skull Island stuff really hits. Like there's this scene where the guys are getting attacked by like what is essentially like a Loch Ness monster, and like it really works. Like and it's just there's a serious charm to it, and it still plays really well. And it was just really interesting, like going back and sort of seeing like how how well something can hold up if you give the care to restore it, right? Like that's what I felt. And you can sort of see film history flow through it. And you also can see where Peter Jackson's King Kong, a movie I very much like, by the way, like you can see where he saw like staying as true to what the spirit of this thing was, but like the areas where you could expand. Like, because like a lot of the horrors of Skull Island in the original version are very truncated. Like you sort of like, the guys are sort of moving through quickly. Like, and that's where Peter Jackson expanded a lot. And it's sort of like his version's like a tale of two movies, and that Skull Island bit is pretty interesting. But yeah, it was an interesting experience to go back and there aren't a lot of movies, especially visual effects heavy movies, that were made 92 years ago that hold up at all. Like a lot of the but it's interesting how much it's genre stuff, right? Like the Universal monster movies, like Bride of Frankenstein, still fucking hits. You know what I mean? And some of those movies, but yeah, it's interesting how. And I'm not saying that like other like very old movies don't hold up. Like Double Indemnity is one of the best thrillers you're ever going to see. And that movie was made in 1941, I think, or something. But yeah, it's like it's incredible. But some of those old like song and dance movies from that era of Hollywood, I don't get me wrong, they're important. I don't know how well they hold up to like modern scrutiny. With like all due respect, but I do think that like some of these older like genre films do kind of hold up to modern scrutiny in a lot of ways, and I find that interesting. I don't really know why that is. There's something about genre filmmaking that can stand the test of like C. Robert Cargill, who we'll talk about in a second. He had this interesting theory about horror, that like horror is a great genre to work in because like I'm paraphrasing him a bit, but like even if you make a bad horror movie, it can become a cult classic. And like if you make a good horror movie, it just becomes an outright classic that can play every single year. And like it's interesting that way, like that these things that like can even just be like reviled in their time can go on to become classics. And it's fascinating. So
Attack of the Killer
a lot of that runs through my head watching
famously bad movie, but became a cult hit. I mean, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, you know, there's a lot of examples of that. Like, you know, The Evil Dead was not necessarily an outright hit. It's like Stephen King gave it a nice poll quote. It eventually becomes a hit. You know, some of these things. But I could monologue about this shit all day. But
how is that possible? It's not like something you do for a living.
Well, you know, I might be in the right business. Who knows?
Absolutely. Well, the last thing we're going to talk about together, because that's why I wanted to reach out to you, and we are going to be talking about the Black Phone 2, not the Black.
Yeah,
the first movie
drop
is
the it's
Phone.
cleaner. Yeah. It's
a little different. So the Black Phone was just a surprise hit based on Joe Hill short story, which was originally published. And I'm just showing the picture of the book, 20th Century Ghosts. And Joe Hill's just been one of my favorite authors, obviously Stephen King's son. In some of the comics he's done,
Lock and Key rules.
Lock and Key is amazing. And Ryan, if I could ever find the pilot that was never released, that's like my holy grail. It was shot.
I talked to Derrickson about it a little bit at one point, and he it's never will never. Derrickson has bad luck with that, by the way, because he also shot a Snowpiercer pilot.
Oh, really?
And that was part of the big gap. So if you go to Slashfilm, I did a huge career spanning interview with Derrickson a while ago. It was great. I love Derrickson so much because like Sinister is one of my all time favorite horror movies, and he's great. But Snowpiercer ended up running for like 4 seasons, but he did so between Doctor Strange and Black Phone, he had that huge gap of not making a movie. A big part of that was he was developing Doctor Strange 2, which didn't happen, his version of it anyway. And then he shot the pilot for Snowpiercer. And then like there was a regime change and stuff, and his pilot got scrapped. They reshot the pilot, redid. So like he put all of this work into the Snowpiercer pilot that never. And he just sounded like when I asked him, I was like, "Is there any chance it'll see?" He's like, "It'll never see the light of day." Like he just like so. Yeah, Scott Derrickson has had an interesting history with like pilots for things that ended up going on not on his version.
It would be amazing for someone to talk about all the famous like pilots never released, movies obviously never released, because we had one with Batgirl. It'd be interesting to see some of those things, some history, some background, just kind of like behind the scenes after the NDAs are all up and everything like that. So
I've always I can't take credit for this idea, but I used to listen to the Nerdist podcast a lot years back in the day, and Chris Hardwick used to talk about how like these studios should either just like launch like an upper tier cable network, or even now you can do YouTube channels. You're sitting on millions, if not billions of dollars of worth of pilots that just were made and never aired or never went anywhere. Why not just have like a YouTube streaming channel of just like unaired pilots, or like pilots that didn't get picked up, or like, just for the sake of a weird time capsule of like weird pilots that didn't go anywhere. Like I don't know. It feels like they're not doing anything. Like do something with them. I don't know about the legalities of that, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, the one of the most interesting pilots I watched was it Mockingbird Lane?
The
Monsters.
The Monsters.
Ryan Singer. Ryan Singer did it, and I loved it. I loved the concept. It was really cool. Eddie Izzard, and it was just, but never got anything else. But at least they released it, so at least I give them credit for that.
Back before we all knew Bryan Singer was like a monster. There's so many.
Oh no, Bryan Singer, Bryan Fuller. Sorry.
Oh, Bryan Fuller. That's right. Sorry, I was like,
I was like, because I like Bryan Fuller didn't do something. Did he? No. Like, oh no. Bryan Fuller, not Bryan Singer. Yes,
Bryan Fuller, ye of many developed shows that like did like Crystal Lake most recently, and all these things. That, like, that'll be one to talk about after that eventually comes out. But
oh yeah, absolutely. Well, so basically, let's talk about the Black Phone and Black Phone 2. So Black Phone, I remember Ryan when you talked about just as one of those surprise hits, horror films, good budget. Just kind of a surprise, good marketing, did extremely well. And this is a movie I thought, oh, it's done. It's one and done. Were you surprised when they announced a sequel?
In the realm of horror, in the realm of Hollywood in general, but especially in horror, if anything makes any money, I am surprised if it gets a sequel. There's a movie called The Jester 2 that came out this year, and I'm not convinced that The Jester 1 is a real movie, but apparently it made about, and again, I say this as a credit to the people that made it. You somehow made 8 nickels on a movie and managed to make that sequel worthy. That's incredible. You know, like, and I say 8 nickels relative to Hollywood. Whatever The Jester is, it didn't make $50 million. You know what I mean? Like, it made, it's sort of like the Terrifier thing, right? Like, Terrifier was like a very small hit, and then 6 years later, you make Terrifier 2, it becomes a hit. Terrifier 3 is a massive. There's a fascinating trajectory that horror can take that no other genre can. So when you ask me, am I surprised that The Black Phone, a movie with stellar reviews, a movie with Oscar nominee Ethan Hawke, a movie directed by Scott Derrickson that made $160 some odd million at the box office against an $18 million budget, produced by Blumhouse Productions, am I surprised that got a sequel? Not necessarily.
Were you scared? How about that? How about better? Were you scared of them making a sequel?
Oh, of course. I love The Black Phone. And like, again, Derrickson's one of my very favorite directors working today. I love C. Robert Cargill, the writer. Ethan Hawke is one of my favorite actors working today. Like, there's, and I felt there was so much about that first movie, but The Grabber specifically as a, like, villain. And like Ethan Hawke going full fucking like bad guy. Like, so good.
He got a little beefy too, I felt.
He did. Yeah. But he died. Like, it's like, and like, there's so many bad ways to try and pick up that thread, and very few good ways to try and pick up that thread. Credit where credit is due. I felt like Derrickson and Cargill, I still am wrestling with how I feel about the movie overall, but the one thing that you have to give them an immense amount of credit for is they didn't do the boring thing and they didn't do the obvious thing. They did an interesting thing. And like, for as much as people bitch about like paint by the numbers franchise stuff, you can't accuse them of taking an easy route in any part of this movie.
No, I agree. I really didn't know what to expect. I knew there was going to be ice and it was going to be cold, and I'm like, oh, the Grabber's back. And I don't recall, maybe you do. Has there ever been like a horror villain who was not supernatural at all, just a normal person, obviously crazy, killed, and then essentially pivoted to more of a supernatural villain? Or
you could certainly argue Jason Voorhees, like, because that was not inherently. At some point, Jason became undead, and it like
it became,
and like people
like,
argue about that.
you know,
people argue
Michael
about
Myers
that.
too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Myers is a very fascinating one because it depends what continuity you're following. Like, and then there's like the end of Halloween H2O where he gets his head cut off, but they want to make another one, so they have to explain in Halloween Resurrection that like Jamie Lee Curtis cut the wrong person's head off. You know what I mean? It's like you get wonky, like, so like, in answer to your question, like, yes, but like it's almost like what ends up happening in Black Phone 2 is like they pretty much turn, and the trailers make this very clear, they pretty much turn the Grabber into Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
You know, like,
yes, absolutely.
And like they set it at like a winter camp instead of a summer camp, so it has like Friday the 13th vibes, and like there's and like all of the dream sequences which you see in the shows are like done with Super 8 film, which recalls the kill tapes and Sinister. So it's like it's like an interesting mixtape of other horror stuff. And I guess what I'm getting at though is ultimately by turning him into Freddy Krueger, it's almost like the first movie was the Freddy Krueger prequel we never got. And like this movie's like the Nightmare on Elm Street 1 sort of, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like we started with the prequel,
which is kind of cool. Like they instead of making this Grabber movie first, you know, it's kind of nice that we didn't have to. Then we got a prequel. I mean, they could have done it, but I really.
Well, but also, I guess the only way that would have happened is if they read the story and said, "Let's make the sequel instead of adapt the story." But they were working from Joe Hill's story, and then they came up with their own version of like a sequel. And I respect the fact that like Derrickson and Cargill had both said, like, they were both adamant that like, okay, obviously like financially a sequel makes sense, but we don't want to do it unless we have an idea. And then they found that idea. They found an idea they sparked to. And I believe that. I do believe that. Like, because Derrickson and Cargill are guys with options at this point. Like, they don't necessarily have to do this. Like, Derrickson went and made The Gorge. They could have, they have other stuff in development. They could have, like, they did not have to make this movie. Like, you know, obviously I'm sure there were financial rewards for doing so, but Derrickson also talked to me a lot I also did an oral history of Sinister a couple of years ago and talked to him a lot. And like, you know, after The Day the Earth Stood Still didn't work out for him and some of these other things, and he made a promise to himself that he was never going to get caught on the wrong end of someone else's movie. And he's going to treat every movie he makes like it's the last movie he might make, because it might be. And so, like, I believe that he made this movie because he really wanted to make this movie and he wanted this to be, you know, so like I buy that. And I do think that, like, and again, people are going to feel different things. I'm still wrestling with how I feel about this movie overall, but I do believe it's fucking interesting. Like, and I don't want to go into full spoilers, but there's something this movie does that I actually had to check my logic with someone else after I left the theater to be like, do I have this right?
Yes.
Because it's not even something you'll realize until later. And it's something that, like, very few horror movies, especially like slasher horror movies, like, ever have done. And it's like, oh, like, you sort of go like, oh shit, that's interesting. And like, you know, it's the one thing I will say is, like, I think after this, it's pretty clear that the Grabber has sort of cemented himself as like a more modern or horror icon. And I think that, like, having Ethan Hawke as this guy, it's like having Robert Englund play Freddy. He doesn't get enough credit for that. Like, Robert, you can't just put on another mask on Freddy. That is Robert Englund. He's an incredible actor, incredible performance. Ethan Hawke taking on this character and treating it very fucking seriously. Like, there is that moment in the kitchen that's teased in the trailers. And I don't want to say it, but in the movie, like, when that happens, I got literal goosebumps. Like, you feel like something big is happening. And like, that's a credit to Ethan Hawke. That's a credit to the character that they designed. It's a credit to, like, the way that Cargill and Derrickson handled it. They did something with the Grabber that, like, really works. And I think that that's cool.
I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, there's some things like, does it stick to the rules of the universe? Is it consistent with those rules? Or is it like, does it pull something out of nowhere where it's like, okay, now you lost me? But it was very cool to see, you know, the characters brought back older and having, you know, gone through some things. The dad, you know, is back again. But then we brought in new characters in a new location. I really liked the supporting characters at the cabin. I thought they were great. And I just really enjoyed the way they brought the piece together. And I just feel like everybody was enjoying themselves for a horror film. But I mean, I feel like everybody was in, and it just worked, especially when things got a little bit more, I guess, hard to believe. But I liked it a lot.
Yeah, but, it's one of those ones I definitely I'm seeing it again tomorrow with my wife because she didn't get. I saw it at Fantastic Fest when it premiered, and this happened to me with Halloween 2018, where I was so like I'm 37 years old, but I still get like excited like a kid on Christmas morning for certain things, and I get way overhyped for stuff. And like this happened to me with Halloween 2018, where I was just like vibrating with excitement, like I could not believe this movie, and I was just like, and then I saw it at Fantastic Fest, and the lights come up, and it's over, and you're like, okay, I know I saw that movie, I was excited, I know I liked it, but it's just over now, and like the come down doesn't match, like, and then so like and then I go see it again, and then I'm like, oh, I love it, you know, like it's just because you needed to get that like clear your head out a little bit, and so I feel like with Black Phone 2, I had that same thing where I saw it and I just was so amped about it. And I know I liked it, but my true feelings have yet to be unearthed. And I feel like tomorrow I'm excited to see it again so I can like actually like, okay, now I know what to expect, and I can just go into it and like actually process my feelings. Cause like I do get that way. Like I am such a child that way where like I get too excited about something and like I just it almost like spoils it for myself because I'm so
it's like always better to keep a low expectations, because at least at that point it's easy to overcome them versus since like, oh, that's what I waited for.
But it's not even like low expectations.
Like the Green Lantern movie, that was mine. So excited, he's my favorite DC character. I'm like, oh
yeah. I do the opposite thing though, where like when Jurassic World was coming in 2015, like my expectations were the moon or bust, like, but also to be for the record, I am one of the world's foremost Jurassic World defenders. Like, I love the 2015 Jurassic World. Like, so like these, so like I won't temper myself at all. I will go into something with like the most sky high expectations because I can't control myself. Like that's how, So I think with Black Phone 2, especially in like that film festival environment, it can be difficult to like manage like the reality versus what your expectations were. And so like, I know I like the movie, but I do need to like go into it more calm and actually be able to watch it again. But the one thing I can say is that Ethan Hawke as the Grabber, like, my God, like what a just
great performance.
What a great get. And I'm so happy he's like willing to do it. Like, because he doesn't have to. Like, he does not have to, but he's so fucking good as the Grabber. Like, it's unbelievable how good he is. There is that
indie darling of Ethan Hawke and Reality Bites, and what was it, Todd from the Dead Poet Society, and everybody, oh, he's such a soft, sensitive person. And now it's like he's doing all of these cool things, and he's just enjoying himself.
Yeah, and it's just so cool. Like that again. I like. Come what may for the rest of the movie, that scene of him in the kitchen when he emerges from the shadow, like that is, it feels like Godzilla storming Tokyo in the sense that like, or the T-Rex breaking out of the enclosure. Like, it feels fucking huge. It feels important. Like, there's a weight to it. Like, they somehow make it feel like, oh shit. Like, they make it feel
changed the game. In the movie, it changed the rules because they're like, oh, everybody has to be afraid.
But it's like the big moment, right? It's like, and it feels big. And it's like that, you can't fake that. You can't fake that, like making something feel important, like feeling the weight of a thing. And in the theater, again, straight up literal goosebumps. I'm not exaggerating. Like, when he came out, I was like, holy shit. And that's a credit to Ethan Hawke. Like, that is such like, and it's nice. That's one of the things I like about the modern era, where like people are no longer ashamed of horror. Like, you can get a guy like Ethan Hawke who can be in a movie like this and treat it seriously, like take it very seriously, and that just churns out better stuff. Like, I think that way about like A Quiet Place in 2018 with like John Krasinski and the acting and that and some of that stuff. It's like, no, you're taking this shit fucking seriously, and it results in a much better product. And in that way, like, the studioification of horror right now is kind of exciting. Like, because you can get, like, is it Darren Aronofsky right now that's developing Cujo for Netflix? Like,
oh, I hadn't heard about that. Like, that's really
I think it's Aronofsky, but it's like Darren Aronofsky making fucking Cujo? Like, fuck yeah, like, let's go. Like, it's like it's, or like, even this year you got like Francis Lawrence making The Long Walk. It's like that results in like that. I don't know. It's, you can be cynical about certain stuff, but also at the same time, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, that's kind of amazing, And I do feel like Ethan Hawke dedicating himself to the Grabber is like one of those things. Like, it's a level of like, he could just do a voiceover, make someone else be in the mask, and take his paycheck and be. But no, he's fucking in it, and it's like, that's awesome. And I'll stop monologuing about it, but I do think that's cool.
It's very cool. And we keep getting surprises, and that's what's been so great about horror the last 10 years, I'd say, is probably all of these films that just get great word of mouth. I remember hearing about Barbarian, and like nobody would say what it was about, and it just the unknown. And then I had the same thing with the Ring back in the days where nobody knew. There was no YouTube trailers. There's no nothing. So everybody showed up, and that experience, and still seeing a horror film with people in the audience, still one of the best things.
Yeah,
as long as people behave.
I know we're kind of wrapping up, but I have a fun story about Barbarian, and that was my favorite movie of 2022, by the way. But I saw Barbarian at San Diego Comic-Con in July. It did not come out until September. So it was me and a bunch of journalists at like a screening, at like kind of a buzz screening. They bussed us to the theater, and it was full, and like just being absolutely fucking floored at what that movie actually is. And then for 3 months not being able to talk about it. Like, because no one had seen it, and me trying to tell people like, no, this is a 10 out of 10 movie. Like, but then like seeing the trailer again in theaters with my now wife, and like chuckling in delight, knowing how misleading that trailer was, but like in a good way. And like, and I don't know, just like that was one of those like experiences for me of just like not knowing what to expect, and then just having your expectations absolutely decimated of like, oh my God, like what, I just still to this day, like being in the theater and Bill Skarsgård, like in the basement being like, something bit me, and then the movie just fucking like it just goes.
And if Justin Long's in a movie, something bad.
Yeah.
It's like, Justin Long, he makes me feel good. No, he's gonna pull a dick.
Bless you, Zach Krieger, for existing.
Exactly, love it. Fun fact: did you know they were making a Terrifier video game? And it's like an
I heard that
8-bit. Yeah.
I think I like the idea of like Art the Clown 16-bit, because I feel like HD Art the Clown video game is a bit much. That could be a bit much.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a Friday the 13th Army of Darkness crossover video game. Yeah. Very cool, very fun. I got the little not Friday the 13th, it was Halloween, sorry. So I got the Michael Myers little plushie, so very excited.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So, like we said, this is more about the best things we watched. Don't want to go too depth, but ultimately, if you had seen The Black Phone, I say this is well worth seeing. You may be taken aback with a different twist. And I always tell people, this isn't a spoiler, but there is no post-credit scene. Thank goodness. I'm so tired of them being in every movie, or in movies they shouldn't really have them. It made me feel really good to not have to worry about that happening.
Yeah, if they never made another one, you would feel satisfied. But
yes,
they're, as always with horror, who knows, they could find a way to make a third one. Like it's pop, but like it's a movie that exists and resolves itself. Like you're not. Yes. This isn't the Halloween Kills of The Black Phone. Like this is you will be satisfied.
No hand coming out of a grave. Nothing like that at the end of this.
Look, I'm perfectly fine with that when it's warranted. But yes. Like I as a man who loves his Friday the 13th and his Nightmare on Elm Streets, and part of the appeal of that being like, nobody's ever really dead or whatever. Like, it's I don't know. There's something about me that like mainstream comic books. Like if I read an issue of Spider-Man, I know Spider-Man's not going to die.
No.
Like there's no, like that's the one thing. Like I know at the end of a Friday the 13th movie, Jason's not really dead, or like, but there, for some reason that doesn't take anything away from it for me. Like there's a weird comfort about it. Like there's a weird like tune in next week element about it that I've always enjoyed.
It's another chapter in the book of Jason.
Right, exactly, yes. 16 years and counting, waiting for the next chapter. Please, good God, someone figure that out. But anyway.
Oh, it's been a long time. Yeah, it has. So before we end the show, Ryan, the box office weekend is over. It's Monday. So I think they finalized the numbers. What is your thoughts on how it performed?
It did really well. It made, I think the final numbers were in the $27 million range domestically, 42.5 million worldwide. So it just slightly made a little more than the first one did, which is a great start. The budget was 30 million. The original had an $18 million budget. So it's a more expensive movie, but Blumhouse has had a really rough, like couple of years. So the fact that so this is, I don't know if it's going to make the 160 that the original did, but like, the thing is, like, what bothers me sometimes about like an over performance of a movie is that like then the sequel will be judged against that over performance, and that shouldn't really be the case, right? Like where like Spider-Man No Way Home made $1.9 billion, Spider-Man Brand New Day next year is going to be held to that standard, and like if it makes $800 million, it's a good. You know what I mean? Like that's a good, like, so I don't know. So like if Black Phone 2 makes 100 million worldwide, that's a really good result. Like, so I hope people don't like hold these things to like the incorrect standard or whatever. But like, yeah, it's a good result for sure. And it seems like the audience reception is good enough to give it legs, and it's a damn fine option for like, it's our big Halloween horror movie this year, and it's, in my humble opinion, it's a damn fine option to be this year's sort of flagship Halloween horror movie.
I was excited when they showed the date. I'm like, oh, good, a Halloween movie that actually gets a few weeks in October versus showing up on like October 31st, because it's a Friday this year. So I'm glad. Give it some room, give it some legs. People will find it because everybody just gets in the season at different times.
And then you got like Shelby Oaks coming out this Friday, which is like the other.
Oh, that's right. I saw the poster for that, the movie there. I'm like, I have no clue what that is, but I will check it out and see a trailer.
Saw it at Fantastic Fest. It's good. It's really good. And it's the most successful horror movie in Kickstarter history. Chris Stuckman, former YouTuber, or I guess still current YouTuber, but ended up making. It's like the little movie that could. So get Shelby Oaks on your radar if you can. It's a good movie.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. You were very generous with your time. I really enjoyed this. Really good conversations about a lot of things: food, fantasy football, movies, weddings. I mean, I think we covered the gambit of life choices. And
my sincere apologies to your nerdy folk listeners who had to deal with my football ramblings. But hey,
we might have converted some people, Ryan. You never know.
There's zero chance me talking about the Daniel Jones-led Colts being 6-1 is converting anybody to anything. But hey, I think it's exciting nonetheless.
We'll just use his nickname, Indiana Jones, and then
Indiana Jones, baby.
Very exciting. Very exciting. So where can people find the awesome things you're doing?
I am at Ryan Scott Writes, WRITES, as in I write things. Ryan Scott Writes at most active on Bluesky and Threads these days. I'm also on Instagram, but that ends up devolving often into me just posting selfies of my finished sweaty runs. I also, as mentioned earlier, we have the Patreon, patreon.com/popcultured. And then I do movies now more than ever on Mondays over there with Mr. Ben Pearson. That is the Box Office podcast you can find me on. And then I also have, if anyone's interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link. If you like what I do, if you like me being on podcasts, if you like my writing at all, it's just a way to support me a little bit without having to like subscribe to something. And then also right now, Fangoria number 29 on stands right now. I have a story in Fangoria number 29, the physical issue of, I went to Poland over the summer to do a set visit for the new video game Chronos: The New Dawn. Yeah, so I got to go to like Krakow, Poland, and go through all. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life. Documented in Fangoria number 29 on stands now. Please check that out if you so choose to do so.
It's in my GameFly queue. I'm one of the few people that still has GameFly. I will be playing that game. It looks amazing. And Ryan, I hope you get to play it if you haven't.
I got to do, so part of it was I did a hands-on there where I played like first 2 hours. I have the game. I haven't had a chance to finish it, but very cool game. And it's a very Polish game, which is part of like the whole story. And the Bloober team, the company behind it, they're like a Polish developer, and they just decided to like lean into like being Polish. And like so the story I wrote was less about the game itself and more about like the influences behind the game. And and I found it deeply fascinating. So even if you like play game already, the story that is in the issue of Fangoria right now will probably be of more interest to you because it is sort of like going to inform a lot of what you encounter.
That's amazing. The Bloober team is having an amazing last couple of years. Silent Hill 2 came out last year, and now we've got this game, Chronos, the scary season. I always love a scary game for the season, so I'll be playing that. So very good. Check out all those awesome things. And yeah, Ryan, I do see where you post. Sometimes you'll have articles for different things as well. So I definitely follow Ryan on socials and see what he's up to, and root him on when he's getting ready for a run. Please do. So the Fandom Foundry is what I do. It's thefandomfoundry.com is the home for everything we do. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Discord if you want to talk about fantasy football, you want to talk about video games, food, whatever you love. And you can follow us on socials at the Fandom Foundry on Bluesky, at the Fandom Foundry on Instagram, and myself at Todd Oxtra on the Bluesky. So it's been an awesome week. And remember, folks, make your week the best one ever. Have a good day.